Today we're going to talk about stress and burnout, but more from the angle of having a business, having a family, and learning how to manage both of them at the same time.
Yep. I think wanting to do both of them to the best of your abilities without letting something fall on either side.
Well, it's hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably one of the hardest things next to motherhood.
the thing I always told you was like, we kind of have like a battery percentage. We all do. And it's like, how do you know when to give a certain amount of that battery to one thing or the other? So
I think I'm very aware of my battery. Probably more than you.
So today, overall, it's kind of like the psychological cost of entrepreneurship. That's kind of what we have this episode title as. And I'll ask you because you see me handling a business and the family. And while you do have a business yourself, you're not working on that business as much as kind of I am for my side.
Right.
So how do you handle the stress of, even in the small amount of entrepreneurship that you do for yourself, how do you handle the stress of knowing that there's certain things that have to be done, but there's also like the more important things that have to be done when it comes to the family side of things?
So I think mine's a little bit of a two-part here because it really depends on what exactly I'm doing for my business. And I know that sounds weird, but that's where you and I differ. But the most important thing for me is communicating it with you. Like, these are the tasks I need to get done, and kind of talking it out. I think that would be the first thing because a lot of times I have it all in my head and that stresses me out.
I know you like to write things down on paper. Do you feel like using that strategy helps you get the things out?
100%. Especially as a teacher, I think I just remember it being drilled in my head that when you are learning something, as you're learning it, if you write it down, you have more of a chance of remembering it. So that got drilled into my head, but which became my routine. Yeah. Especially going into the digital world, it's kind of hard. Sometimes I even find myself writing it, then adding it to my, Google Calendar or whatever.
I used that same kind of strategy for when I was in school, right?
Like taking notes?
Like when I would study, like my study format was write it down.
Right.
Write it down over and over and over again. And somewhere in becoming an adult, like I kind of lost that. But I know that as of recently, I know that like, and you've taught me this through some of the podcast stuff that you listen to and like your growth day and all of that stuff. But like, lining out your day either the night before or like early in the morning, like right when you wake up. And that's kind of what I do now. I have like my little book in front of me and it's like, what's the 3 things that have to get done today? And
but the second part of my answer for you, and this goes more into the family side because that's actually my main focus, my main why to anything I do. So I like to think about what is the most important one thing. I know I have a thousand things in my head, but what is the one thing I want to be, present in with the family, and how can I achieve that while achieving everything else? And again, I either write it down, share it with you, or when we talk about our weeks or our days, when we talk about them ahead of time, I like really emphasize the fact that that's something I want to do.